Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, going home to live with God. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, going home to live with God. I want to meet my Jesus. I want to meet my Jesus. I want to meet my Jesus. I'm going to live with God. I want to meet my Jesus. I want to meet my Jesus. I want to meet my Jesus. I'm going to live with God. I'm going to live with God. I'm going to live with God.
I look in the mirror, and the first thing I say is, "Hello, gorgeous." You have to believe in yourself. You have to be more confident.
The conflict in Congo is occurring at a bunch of different levels. There's the local level, there's the regional level, there's the national level, and then there's the international dynamic of minerals and those kind of things.
My name is Maggie Fick. I work for the Enough Project in Washington, D.C. And what Enough does is we are working to build a permanent constituency to end genocide and crimes against humanity wherever they occur. We're currently working on 6 different conflicts in Africa, including Darfur and Congo. The reason that I do this work, the reason I'm working for the Enough Project, is because I really believe in the power of activists, of everyday people, to make a difference in places that are far away and that no one's forcing you to think about on a day-to-day basis. You don't need to think about what's happening in Congo. You may have seen an article or two about what's happening in Darfur, but really it's up to us as American citizens, as people from all different walks of life, to come together and think creatively about how we can hold our leaders responsible for taking action. The U.S. is a leader in the international community, and countries, other nations look to us to see how we're going to address situations like what's occurring in Sudan and Congo. But they need the pressure of activists. I mean, it's just part of the way our democracy works. They need to know that their constituents, whether they're in rural Ohio or Seattle or California, wherever they are, that they're issues that people care about, and that they want to know that President Obama and other leaders are thinking about the people in places where they don't have a voice yet, and they need us to stand up for them. So we try to reach out to people in a variety of ways. One sort of traditional way that we've done for a while now is writing strategy papers. And these aren't boring reports that you would read if you're a PhD or professor or someone like that. They're reports that anyone could read, from your dad to your aunt to your middle school teacher. And the idea behind these reports is to provide activists, like I said, with information that they can use to then go lobby their politicians for change. So, for example, this paper we have coming out this coming week is about the atrocities occurring in eastern Congo, with a specific look at the issue of conflict minerals. So it's sort of like blood diamonds that you might have heard of. But what's going on in Congo right now is there's a great deal of resources, huge, vast natural resources in Congo. The country has an unimaginable amount of wealth in tin and gold and copper, all these resources that go in products that we need, like our iPhones and our Blackberries and our cell phones and our laptops. And right now, companies like Nokia and Apple, names you know in your household, can't tell me as a consumer where the tin in their iPhone, for example, is coming from. So what we as an organization want to do is we want to put pressure on these companies to make them investigate their supply chain, go to the companies in Asia where they bought the products for their circuit boards, and have those companies investigate if their minerals are coming from Congo. And if they are, then a solution needs to be found, because the resource war in Congo is what's fueling the conflict and leading to atrocities against women, widespread sexual violence. And we're not saying that the mineral trade needs to stop. It needs to just be legalized and monitored, and it needs to benefit the people in Congo as opposed to being the cause of their suffering. Aid needs to be conditional governments need to stand up on their own 2 feet and not just get blank checks from the international community. But I don't think that it's time to cut off all aid to Africa. It's important to think about what these billions of dollars are doing, and if they're only Band-Aid solutions. There are times when the United Nations needs to provide aid to refugees so they can continue surviving, but there's other times when we should be looking at the policies of governments. For example, the World Bank funded this oil pipeline, the Chad-Cameroon pipeline, which basically is a classic example of how the World Bank gave the government of Chad too loose of a leash, and now President Deby of Chad is making millions of dollars in oil revenues, and he's abandoned the contract. The World Bank has backed out of it. So the money that was intended to go to future generations, as they called it, and to educate Chadian people is just going directly into the pockets of this president, who's actually using it to buy weapons to fund his war with Sudan. There are African solutions for African problems, but I think also that we shouldn't just hand blank checks to leaders like President Mugabe, and that's something that President Obama is showing. He called up the president of South Africa, I think in one of the first weeks of his presidency, saying, listen, we've got to figure out a way to put economic pressure on Mugabe. How are we going to do that? We're going to keep up these sanctions we put against him, but we've got to also find a way to get aid to people who are dying and have no choice but to live in this country or to flee. I'd encourage you to visit our website, www.enoughproject.org, for more information about how you can get involved. Thank you.